Hey guys, today we're going to talk about slope. The slope is the slope of a line is actually a number that represents the steepness of a line. It's usually represented by an integer or a fraction. And the slope, the variable m, is usually used to represent the slope. So that's the m is the slope. The formula for calculating the slope is actually it's y2, so I'm going to write it out here, y2 minus y of 1 divided by x2 minus x of 1. Now what I mean by that is if I have two ordered pairs, okay, say I have 1, 2, and I have 3, 4. Okay, two ordered pairs. Now each ordered pairs has an x in input and a y, and this would be my x and this would be my y. But since we have two different ordered pairs, we're going to actually represent the first ordered pair with a subscript of 1. So it's going to be x of 1 and the 2 is going to be y of 1. Here we have x of 2 because it's the second point and y of 2. Alright, so when we take the steepness of the line, we're going to take y of 2, which is right here, minus y of 1, and we're going to divide it by 3 minus 1, or x of 2 minus x of 1. Okay, you will hear the slope referred to as the rise over the run, because if you think of the rise, that's your up and down or your y values, and your run would be your side to side or your x values. Okay, we can also might also hear this as the change in y, so the change in y divided by the change in x. Okay, and sometimes you might see it as change in y. The little triangle represents the change over the change in x. Okay, so to calculate it, we've got our 2 points here. Find the slope of the line passing through the given points, and we're going to use the formula. So again, if this is my x1, this is my y of 1, and this is my x2, and this is my y of 2. If I calculate the slope, it's going to be y of 2 minus y of 1, so 9 minus my 5 divided by 2 minus my 1. Okay, 9 minus 5 is 4, 2 minus 1 is 1, so my slope is going to be a positive 4. Alright, for the second one, number 2, I'm going to say my slope is equal to 1 minus 4 divided by 1 minus 2. Okay, when I do that, I get a negative 3 divided by a negative 1, so when I simplify, my slope is actually equal to 3. The third one, if I have my slope, it's going to be a negative 2 minus 7 divided by 5 minus 5. I get negative 9 divided by 0. Now you should know that you can never divide by 0. If you divide by 0, you're actually going to get an error on your calculator. In math, we say that that would be undefined. Okay, so anything divided by 0 is undefined, but 0 divided by anything is actually going to be 0, unless it's 0 divided by 0. Then it would be undefined. Okay, so right now, let's have you guys try, whoop, there's a little typo here, change that to 4. Pause this video and try 4, 5, and 6 for me and see how you do. Okay, and then when you get back, we're going to continue I'll show you how to do it. Let's see if you get the answers right. Okay, so for number 4, the slope is negative 2 minus 3 divided by 4, and be careful here, minus a negative 2. Okay, so I'm just going to write this as negative 5, and again, subtracting a negative is actually adding, so it's negative 5, 6. So here my slope is negative 5, 6. Alright, I usually get a lot of questions about where does a negative go. It usually can go out front, or sometimes you'll see me do it like this, negative 5, 6, negative 5, 6 like this. You can even have it as 5 over negative 6. What it can't be is a negative 5 over a negative 6 like that, okay, because that would make it a positive. But my slope here is negative 5, 6. Alright, so if we did number 5, our slope would actually be equal to negative 1 plus 1, because we're subtracting a negative, divided by 1 minus a negative 1, so again 1 plus 1. And here we're going to get 0 divided by 2. Well, 0 divided by 2 is actually equal to 0. Okay, so our slope is 0. Number 6. Your slope is negative 7 plus 2, because we're subtracting a negative, so it becomes plus, divided by negative 1 plus 3. So negative 7 plus 2 is negative 5, and negative 1 plus 3 is 2. So my slope is negative 5/2. Okay, moving on, we've got 7, 8, 9. Slope is going to be 6 minus 3 divided by 4 plus 2. 6 minus 3 is 3, 4 plus 2 is 6. We always want to simplify, so 3 6 actually simplifies to be the slope of 1/2. Number 8, if we did the slope, we'd get negative 3 minus 5 divided by, here we've got a fraction, 1/2 minus 9/2. Well, the numerator is easy. Negative 3 minus 5 is negative 8. Here we've got the same denominator, so negative 1/2 minus 9/2 is actually negative 8/2. When we simplify this slope, we end up with negative 8 divided by, negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4. And then we simplify negative 8 divided by negative 4, and we're going to get a positive 2. So our slope for number 8 is 2. And then for number 9, our slope is negative 4 plus 2 divided by 2 minus 4. So we're going to get a negative 2 divided by a negative 2, which when we simplify is going to be 1. Okay, moving on. We're going to graph a line with a given point and slope. Start at the indicated point and find the next point using the given slope. Repeat the pattern until the points go off the coordinate plane. Connect your points. So here we're given our slope is 2/5. Now I want you to write out 2/5, and I want you to think of rise over run. Okay, so we're going to rise 2 and we're going to run 5. So I'm going to start here at this point. I'm going to rise positive 2. I go up for positive and I would go down for negative. So positive 2 rise, and then I'm going to run 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's my point. Okay, again from this point I'm going to now rise 2 and run 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So once I have my 3 points here, I can connect them and I make a line. Notice this is a positive slope. All right, number 11, I've got a negative slope. Now this is important. You're going to pick either your rise or your run to be negative, but not both. So I'm going to write negative 2/3 rise over run. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to go down 2 and to the right 3. Okay, or I can actually go up 2, because we could write it like this, and then to the left 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, down 2 to the right 3. Notice I've got it on the same line. So there's my line right there. Okay, number 12, my slope is 4 over 1, but a lot of times you're actually going to see this as slope is just 4. Okay, you should know if it's a whole number, let's put the rise over the run. The run is just going to be 1. So this is our rise and this is our run. Starting at this point, I'm going to rise positive 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to go to the right 1. Well, I'm already off the graph, but I can also represent the rise and the run with a negative 4 divided by a negative 1. That would still give me a positive slope. So for that, I could actually rise negative 4, which means I go down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and to the left 1. So there's my graph right there. Okay, so now we're going to start at the point negative 4, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and our slope is negative 1/2. So again, we've got our rise over our run. So, oops, typing out run over rise by mistake. Okay, whoops, let's try that again. Hold on a second. Not sure why that erased there. Okay, so this should be the rise over the run. All right, so I'm going to go down 1 for my rise, and I'm going to go to the right 2. Go down 1 to the right 2. Down 1 to the right 2. So now I have my line. Okay, and notice it is a negative slope. All right, number 14, 0, negative 3. So there's my starting point. My slope is 2, so I want to write this as 2 over 1, where I have my rise over my run. So I'm going to rise 2 and then run 1. Rise 2, go over 1. Rise 2, go over 1. So there I have my line. Okay, so as a summary, when the graph rises from the left to the right, it is called a positive slope. All right, and in that case, your slope is greater than 0. When a graph falls from left to right, it is called a negative slope. And in that case, your slope is going to be less than 0. When a graph is horizontal, it is called a zero slope, or slope is equal to 0. And when the graph is vertical, it's called an undefined slope. Okay, undefined slope. So if you haven't watched the video yet for Slope Dude, I highly recommend it. It helps give you an idea of positive, negative, 0, and undefined slopes. But we use a little acronym to help us remember. Okay, a horizontal line we call HOIVUX, and you'll hear that a lot, HOIVUX. Okay, a horizontal line has a 0 slope. Okay, and it's represented by the equation y equals. So if I wrote the equation up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, y equals 4, it would make this horizontal line, and it would have a 0 slope. When the graph is vertical, it's called an undefined slope. So a vertical line has an undefined slope. Okay, that's how we get the VUX, and it would be represented by the equation x equals. So in this case, x is actually equal to 3. All right, x is equal to 3 gives us a vertical line, whereas y equals 4 gives us a horizontal line. Okay, and HOIVUX should help you remember that. Okay, find the slope from the given graph. Use the 2 points. So if I use these 2 points, I'm going to think rise over run. So always think rise over run. So I'm going to start at this point, and I'm going to rise positive 2, and I'm going to run positive 2 to get to the other point. So it's going to be 2 over 2, which is the slope of 1. Okay, if I started at this point at number 16 and I rose 2, I would go to the left 1. So rise 2, left 1 would give me a slope of negative 2. All right, from there, we've got, if I look at it, it is a negative slope. Here, my rise is 2, my run is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is positive, so my slope is 2/5. And now this one is a horizontal line. I'm just going to think of HOIVUX, and what that means is my slope is actually going to be 0. Remember, horizontal line, 0 slope. This says, all right, 19, 20, and 21 get a little bit harder here. We're going to now find the missing coordinate given the slope. So to do that, we're going to think of our equation for slope, which is our formula for slope, which is y2 minus y of 1 divided by x2 minus x of 1. And we're just going to plug in our values. So for 19, I've got negative 1 minus x divided by 6. Whoops, I made a little mistake there. Let me erase this. Don't get confused here. Hold on. Okay, y2 is negative 1 minus 4. So y2 minus y of 1 divided by 6 minus x, or x2 minus x1. And that has to be equal to 5, 6. We're going to simplify the numerator. I'm going to get negative 5 divided by 6 minus x and set that equivalent to 5, 6. Now to solve for x, I'm going to do cross products here. Okay, so when I do cross products, I'm going to get 5 times 6 minus x is equal to negative 5 times 6. 30, I'm going to distribute now, minus 5x is equal to negative 30. Okay, I'm going to subtract 30 from both sides. So in this case, negative 5x is equal to negative 60, and when I divide by negative 5, I get x is equal to 12. Okay, so the first one, our answer is x is equal to 12. Number 20, I'm going to take positive 1, and I'm going to subtract y, and that's going to be divided by negative 2 minus 0. So y2 minus y of 1 divided by x2 minus x of 1, and that's going to be equal to 8. All right, so when I do that, I've got 1 minus y divided by negative 2 is equal to 8. Okay, so in this case, I don't even have to do cross products. I can just multiply both sides by negative 2 to get rid of that fraction. All right, and when I do that, I get 1 minus y is equal to negative 16. I'll subtract 1 from both sides. Negative y is equal to negative 17, and then I divide by negative 1. My y is equal to 17. Okay, so the next one, I'm actually going to pause right here and have you guys move to the next video because I'm limited by 15 minutes. So why don't you try number 21, and then we will check your work in the continuing video. Okay, see you in a bit.